Welcome to the Lifting Lounge podcast. Join your hosts, Josh Parkin and Jack Buffery, as they give you the knowledge and the tools to take your physical and mental performance to the next level.
Go on, finish the question.
No.
You want to do what to who? And you're wondering if she would say yes.
Hey, mate, I'm married now, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Before we get into just basically riding each other like we usually do, that's an American term, isn't it? And now it's come out of my mouth, I realise how weird it sounds.
Yeah, never fucking say that again. I'm just saying,
never say
that again. No chance.
Okay. Have you seen those dodgy? Before I get into the explanation, have you seen the clips strung together of WWE wrestlers saying really questionable stuff? I'm going to get all up in your ass, stuff like that. It's oh, dude, come on!
I'm going to eat your ass.
Stuff like that. It's like, what the fuck? But before we get into that sort of shit, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode we talk about food tracking and current news. I'm going to stick with the same format that Josh actually went on last, but I'm going over to the other universe in DC, and we're talking about Lex Luthor and the future of DC. In Fit Talk, we're going to talk about something, Josh. It's kind of conversational, but it's about your final form because, as we know, fitness is fluid. So we're going to talk about the final form and the end goal. Study time is about how hunger hormones impact decision making.
Hunger
hormones. And the hot topic today, because tomorrow, on day of release, tomorrow is going to be December the 1st, and holiday season, to be fair, has already started in the States, but it'll be kicking off in the UK and the rest of the world as well soon. So, how to stop the holiday season ruining your progress. But before all of that, Josh, what's going on?
Yeah, man, good. Just had some lunch. Some creamy garlic chicken. It's bloody lovely.
I had a bacon sandwich and a protein shake. How bad is that?
Live your brand, I think, is the
fucking right. I'm
fucking right
now. It is definitely that.
Yeah,
it's all right. I'm covering my own back in today's hot topic, so it's all right.
Oh yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, no, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Living the dream. Gonna have hopefully a relaxed afternoon, just sat in front of the computer, nothing too physically crazy, and then go from there. For people wondering why I've got a hat on, if you're watching on YouTube, it's because I haven't had a shower yet. So
gross.
My hair's really fucking long at the moment. So look at that.
Wow, that's impressive.
Wow. Yeah, I need a haircut. So do you, Jack. But yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I definitely need a haircut. Yeah, not too bad. I've had a few clients today, had some interesting conversations. Managed to get an awesome picture of the lake today, but it kind of lies. I could technically use the hashtag no filter on it if I was one of those people, but I used the pro version on my camera, and you can make some subtle adjustments on that just to get some really good, fucking nice looking shots on that. It does, it does look good. I was also showing one of our clients the pervert mode on the phone, otherwise known as the 100 times zoom. So yeah, it's
nice.
it's interesting, but I've had a relatively productive morning. It's kind of nice when it's not pissing down this time of year. It's almost like the ideal thing at the moment. And Josh, you will probably correlate this even more so than me. We seem to be getting a lot more rain at night and in the early hours of the morning than we do during the day. And that's like an ideal situation. I don't mind that. I've said this to many people. I don't mind being wet necessarily. I don't mind being cold necessarily, but I hate being wet and cold at the same time. It just pisses me off. It's like, especially my feet. But luckily, we've been managing to miss that so far.
Yeah, it's been all right. We've been quite lucky, touch wood, and as long as it stays just forever, because I don't like getting wet either.
Yeah, I mean, climate change, global warming. I was reading some worrying things earlier on, though, about the irreversibility of some of the melting ice sheets and the fact that we've now, the window is pretty much been missed to stop the 1.5 degree increase and stuff like that. So apparently some parts of the world are going to be unlivable. So
yeah, that's not surprising, though, is it? My theory of this is, Well, I've got a few theories, but one, I think the UK's going to be. You'd never really watched anime, Jack, but I used to watch a lot of anime, and I've watched an anime called Naruto. So if any of our listeners have listened to Naruto, they'll know what I talk about. But there's a village, got a village rain or something like that, where one of the bad guys is from, and it literally is in perpetual rain. And I think that is what's going to happen to the UK. Is the UK is just going to become the rainy country, because it seems to be in that perfect spot where it just gets hit by rain all the time. So I think we will just be the rain country. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. But I also reckon that what's going to happen, which is going to be a big fucking shock to the world due to immigration and people not liking other people in their country. I'm not going to get into that because I think nationalism is fucking stupid. But anyway, I think most of the equator is going to become unlivable. And then, so you've got millions of people who live near the equator who are going to have to go somewhere. They're going to have to go somewhere, whether that's south or north, and it's going to be a massive shock to fucking everyone. You know what I mean? It's going to be a huge shock, and there's going to be a lot of conflict over it, just in general community between normal people, and it's all going to be fucking mental.
Well, that was a cheery fucking start to the podcast, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
On Plus News, it will be easier to get a suntan, guys. So we talked about that vitamin D through sunshine.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's you can tell where my mind is today. We'll carry on from that, shall we? So Jack.
Yes.
Jack. Sometimes my tip goes a little bit unchecked for a while. And sometimes it needs to be kept track of. And maybe you can give me an idea of how often I should keep track of my tip and for how long. Because maybe, it probably needs to be kept an eye on. It can get a bit wayward sometimes.
Wow, wayward tip. Have you ever had one of those emails? Have you ever had one of those emails that says that they've been watching you through your webcam and that you must pay a certain amount of money into a cryptocurrency bank account? Have you never had one of those? I've had so many.
Yeah, of course you have, because you're obviously doing a lot in front of your webcam. I don't, so I think that says a lot more about you than it does about
really. They're not really watching me through my webcam.
Yeah, sure.
If I did, I'd say awesome. Send me the link and see if we can monetize. So, just a tip for today is track your food, track your calories for 3 weeks every 6 months. We're at a point now where we have repeated ourselves quite a lot of times, but we're going to carry on repeating the same shit because A, the same shit works, and B, you need to hear this stuff over and over again because there's so much noise out there. But my advice to anybody is to track your food for at least 3 weeks every 6 months, just to keep yourself in check of where you're actually at, how many calories you're getting in, the quality of food you're getting in, and just how all your macros break down. It's so easy to forget, even if you're eating healthy. Like, one of the easiest things that I was doing, you remember a few episodes back, if you're a long time listener, of like the two of you that are out there, that I was having I was having a bit of a phase of eating like cashew nuts. I've actually had to stop eating as many of them recently because it was so easy to overeat them on the calories because they're just high fat content. So what I really recommend is everybody just track every 6 months, track for 3 weeks, just to give yourself a little bit of a reminder exactly how many calories stuff's got in it for a start, and how much of this stuff you're putting in your gob every day.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a good idea. It's so easy to not realize the food that you're putting in yourself. I had a conversation with this about a lady on the weekend who's a nutritionist, and we were talking about people who say they don't really eat that much, but they keep putting on weight, or this, that, and the other. And what I put it down to is actually a lot of people don't realize that they're eating food. So they may think they're not eating that many meals, but not realize that they've just mashed 2 chocolate bars down and they're munching on this, that, and the other all the time. It's quite easy not to compute that, which some people might think's fucking weird, but it is. It's really easy not to compute the food you're putting in you. I've done it so many times where I've like, what's going on? Why do I feel like shit? And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I ate a McDonald's, a Sainsbury's sandwich, a packet of crisps, a chocolate bar, this, that, and the other, in the space of like an hour without even realizing. And it can be so easy to do that, especially if you're tired and unprepared and all of this stuff. So tracking your food every 3 weeks, not only does it make you realize what you're putting in, it makes you realize how much food you need to be eating, and it reminds you to be more regimented, more prepared. It gets you back into that sequence of creating meal plans, eating healthily, getting the right amount in. The other one it's really good for, which I would say, is for protein. So many people, once they start falling off the wagon, they stop getting the right amount of protein in. And once we realize actually we need quite a lot of protein, you need to start eating more. Before we carry on with this, Jack, I just had a little look because we said about we've only got 2 listeners. And I thought I'd have a little look. And we're picking up at the moment. And we have somebody from Arkansas, a different place in Arkansas this time, listening to us. Ash Flat in Arkansas. So hello, Arkansas person.
Hi, Arkansas. It is so good that we...
Somebody from... fuck knows, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Sokolo Podlaski Mazovia. Didn't even know that was a fucking place. So somewhere in Europe. It's in Poland, I think. Yeah.
Amazing.
And Illinois. So Bloomington, Illinois. Hello to those people across the way. Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Happy Thanksgiving. I know this is actually going to be way past your Thanksgiving now, but all of that good stuff anyway. Amazing. Hello to everybody. We appreciate your listens. Listens are love. If you ever listen to the end, you may have heard me say that, but I doubt if you have heard me say that. So another thing, I just wanted to get back to the fit tip quickly.
Yeah.
Another thing with the calories side of things is that a lot of people get it in through liquid as well without realizing it when they're eating and drinking mindlessly. I just thought I would have a quick little Google here. So a caramel waffle latte, a grande size, has got 318 calories in it. And people could smash back 3 of those, which is 1,000 calories, which for someone who is probably sedentary, let's say a sedentary average sized female, that is probably half their calorific needs, having 3 of them a day. So that puts in perspective. I don't know if that's with cream or not, so I'm not too sure. But if it's cream, obviously that's even more. That's 13.7 grams of fat, 11.3 of which is saturated fats, and 35 grams of carbohydrate are in there as well. I don't know what the protein is, but very small, I would guess. And that's a grande, which is...
Yeah, that's big. Yeah, grande's a big one.
No, grande is the middle one.
Oh, fuck.
I think, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, it's not ideal.
The other thing...
the next one up is 388 calories, which is almost a meal.
The one I just checked, so a pint of Carlsberg is, which is like shit lager anyway, if you're into beer, if you drink beer, and that's just like, not even thinking about the heavier stuff, a pint of Carlsberg is 210 calories. So if you're having a few pints... that adds up, man, and that's easy.
And 5 pints is over 1,000 calories, 1,200 calories, and then you're probably going to go smash a kebab after 5 pints as well. So
oh yeah,
holy shit! Right, Josh, that's it. Now I take it all back. I'm going to start drinking caramel waffle fucking lattes. 17.8 grams of protein.
Oh wow! Fuck.
Yeah,
all milk,
all the milk. Yeah, all the milk and cream. Wow, but yeah, don't do that. Though, guys, so just be aware and track it. But like me and Josh, we haven't really. It's probably actually with New Year coming up, it's probably going to be a good time to recover this sort of stuff, and we're going to attack that a little bit in today's hot topic. But yeah, just talking about the food quality and the way that you just what to do when you track, and the way in which you should approach tracking, which is what we suggest is don't change your eating habits for the first couple of weeks. Understand where you're already at when you start tracking. Don't start tracking once you're already eating healthy. Otherwise, you won't know what you're trying to fix. So start tracking with the bad shit in, and that'll give you an idea of where you're going wrong, especially when it comes to macros as well as just calories.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's definitely a good idea. And I think we should definitely do an episode on food quality and when it matters and when it doesn't matter. Because, sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't. But why food quality is important. So I think that's definitely something we'll go over for sure.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's move on to current news. And like I said in the intro, I'm going to keep us on the Geek Corner front at the moment because, to be honest, there's no interesting shit happening. And the Geek Corner today, the current news Geek Corner, is Nicholas Hoult. So Nicholas
Mm.
Hoult, you may know him as the second generation Beast in X-Men, in X-Men, as
Mm.
opposed to the first ones. He was also in what was About a Boy. I think that was his first
Mhm.
film as literally a kid. He's a British actor. He's been in that
Mhm.
new Dracula movie with shit. What's his name?
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. That's it. I kind of actually want to watch it. That's quite funny. And he's been in loads of things. You'd recognise him if you see him. But he has been confirmed as playing Lex Luthor. So
Mm.
what are your thoughts around Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor? We've seen him with what was he bald in? He's actually had a skinhead in something, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, he's been bald, so he can do the look.
Wasn't he in? Wasn't he in something else as well? Wasn't he? No, wasn't he pegged to be someone else? He applied to be
I don't know.
somebody else.
Was he pegged?
Pegged.
That's not
I,
the sort of circles I roll in. You tell me.
I think he went for a role but didn't get it, and I can't fucking remember what it was.
Oh shit! Now you're saying that. Did he go for
Yeah.
Spider-Man?
No, I don't think it was.
No. What was it?
Let me just have a look. Field audition. Yeah, he went for somebody. Oh, he went for Batman, I think.
Makes sense.
He screen tested for Batman, didn't get it, and he screen tested for Top Gun and didn't get it.
I bet it was. Oh no, what would it have been? I wonder if it was for either Thingy's son in Top Gun, which I can see why he didn't get, but if not, it would have been the other one, the other guy in it. But I can't remember what his name is. I need to watch that film again. I watched a breakdown video of how Top Gun is very similar to Star Wars, which you can tell when you watch it, but
Mm,
when you see this breakdown video, it's even more than what you think. It's great.
mm,
But anyway, yeah, Nicholas Hoult. He's okay. I like him as an actor. To be fair, I don't dislike him. He's not really stood out in anything too much for me at the moment. But I'll be interested to see what he brings to the table.
mm,
I will ask this. I'll use this opportunity to ask you this though: are you
mm.
disappointed we didn't get to see whatever his name is from the Social Network? Christ, what was his name?
Oh, Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg. Are you gutted we didn't get to see more of him as Lex Luthor?
No, not really.
Really? Okay, interesting.
Look. I'm not a massive fan of Jesse Eisenberg. I'm not a
Did you
massive
not
fan
like
of
the
him.
Social Network? I fucking love that film.
Well, I've never actually seen a Social Network.
It's good.
I've seen a lot of his other movies though, and he's essentially the same guy in every movie.
Do you not
And
like the Zombieland films?
yeah, they're okay, but not because of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think like Woody Harrelson's better in that. Emma Stone's better in that. Fucking even Bill Murray's better than that, and he's in it for like 3 seconds. So, yeah, I'm just not a big fan of him. So maybe Nicholas Hoult can do better. I don't know how I feel actually about Nicholas Hoult playing Luthor, because it depends on how they're depicting Luthor, right? Luthor from Smallville isn't really what Luthor's like either. So Luthor from Smallville, the guy who played him, I thought that was really good, and he was one of the
I,
best parts of Smallville.
I think he is the best ever portrayal of Lex Luthor. He gives so much gravitas to that TV program. It's fucking
Yeah.
amazing.
However, Lex Luthor in the comics is fucking jacked.
It's jacked and maniacal, like
Yeah,
seriously maniacal. Yeah,
he's huge and he's a lot more evil than we think. So I
yeah.
just feel like I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it. So maybe he'll be good. We'll see.
Okay, so this leads us well on to the next part of this question. Then, in that case,
Hmm.
so what would your ideal DC future look like? So obviously we've got the Batman at the moment, plus we've got the Gunverse coming out, which is all the
Hmm.
James Gunn produced ones, and what do you want the tone of them to be? Do you want to see team ups? Is there any characters? So, for instance, the Snyderverse, as it was called, was Jesse Eisenberg. He was the Lex Luthor, and he was going to have a much more prominent part in later movies, but it's obviously being all canned now. Would you what do you want the tone of the DC verse to be moving forward?
It's hard, that, isn't it? Because it's hard because there's so many different tones within the comics, but I feel like they all clash quite a bit. So, like, for instance, Batman needs to stay dark. Like, it needs to stay, because it is, and some of it is fucking brutal and dark, and that's where it kind of needs to be. I really liked. A lot of people didn't like it for some reason, but I really liked the new Batman that came out,
Yeah,
and I
did.
like that. I think it was a little bit long. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I really liked how dark that was, and I think that's how that kind of needs to be. For instance, Green Lantern has the potential to be like a Guardians, but not a team up. Then there's so many different cool things with that, with space and all the different lanterns, all the different colors. There's so many different things we can do with that. I kind of maybe would like it to go away from the team ups for a bit.
Yeah.
Focus on the individual characters for a bit, like kind of Marvel did. Stay away from the team ups and build up to a team up rather than doing one soon.
That's where the Snyderverse went wrong in my eyes. There
Yeah.
should have been a Superman film. I've just started watching Man of Steel again. Actually, I'm just gonna watch a little bit at a time over my lunch breaks. That's a fucking great film. They should have done the same with Batman. Then they should have done the same with like Wonder Woman, and so on and so on. But they just tried throwing it all together way
Yeah.
too soon.
I also most would like to see if they can do. I know it's really hard, right? But if they could do like a more of a stripped back version of like the over the top CGI, like if they could do the characters, not even like get the characters from the beginning, but do the characters smaller time for the bit and then build them up and then build up to the crazy big shit. But maybe
Yeah,
have them do smaller time shit for the time being.
It
It'd
goes
be
back to what we
hard
were
with
saying
some
in
of
the
them.
last episode, doesn't it? Like with Ant-Man, like have those smaller stories told, and even the Batman film, like that wasn't. There was no massive. Okay, there was a lot of CGI, but not real obvious like epic Earth maneuvering shit in the CGI. No, I completely agree with you on that one. There is. I think the Snyderverse could have been great. I think it was rushed too much. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the studio probably rushed it a bit too much, rather than Zack Snyder himself. Did you ever watch the 4.5 hour cut of Justice
No,
League? I
no,
liked
that's
it.
fucking way too long.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I thought we watched it over like a week or something like that. We watched like an hour at a time. It was good. It was way better than the theatrical release. I think probably because the characters hadn't had time to get built up beforehand. So this film gave them especially complicated characters like Cyborg. He was given a bit more time to shine in that. In fact, it was more about him than the other one was. Batman, Batfleck as he's called, like I think he was the biggest missed opportunity. I think he could have been a seriously great Batman if they had built it up right. And what it was leading to was great. And what I'm also disappointed out in is the post-credit scene in Batman versus Superman, where Joe Magniello, however you say his name, was going to play Deathstroke. That would have been such a good film to have Batman and Deathstroke facing off against each other. That was,
Yeah.
in my eyes, that's the biggest missed opportunity. So that's the kind of tone I would have liked for that, like the Man of Steel, not necessarily Batman versus Superman so much. It was okay, but just that kind of tone and a Deathstroke tone. If you're talking about an interconnected universe, that is how I would have liked it. But again, like you, less of the team ups. I wouldn't have liked to have seen much of that. I would have liked to have just seen individual characters for the first 6-7 years, and then boom, then we go for a team up.
It's also the fact that they managed to fuck the Joker up. You know what I mean? Like Joker's one of the probably the best villain in comic books ever. Most people would agree. He's like up there with like one of the most compelling villains ever known, and with the most questions asked about him. And they fucking somehow managed to fuck that. Well, they didn't. I think Jared Leto more than anything fucked that up. But yeah, it was just so over the top. I just hope that they strip it back a bit, spend a bit more time with the characters so we can learn to love them and like them. I didn't know. Did Aquaman come out? Has that been out? The new one?
It's
The
not
second
out
one?
yet. I think a new trailer came out for it earlier on. Actually, I haven't even bothered watching it. It doesn't interest me. So, one more quick question about this with the tone and the team and stuff like that. You brought up the Green Lanterns. For
Mm.
me, I know Superman is an alien and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but it's not really something I'm that fussed about. At least, definitely not for. 'Cause how long did it take for Guardians of the Galaxy to come out? That was like quite a fair way into it, and it
Mm.
really built us up to that beforehand. Because obviously, you had Iron Man first of all, then Captain America, and then I think it was Thor next, wasn't it? And then you had the two movies, and Thor came in at a good time where it's like, holy shit, like there's more to this universe. It built it up in a good way. So I don't I wouldn't want the Green Lanterns and that whole space epic thing to be introduced too soon.
Mm.
I think what I'm trying to say is I don't want it too comic booky straight away. I want a bit of a darker DC rather than a more comic booky one.
Well, that's why the Christopher Nolan Batman series did so well, right? Because
Mhm.
it seemed um, more human. You know, they didn't
Mm,
seem like the people didn't really have powers. For instance, you know what I mean?
mhm.
They
Yeah.
used like Scarecrow used chemicals, which he does anyway, and then the Joker doesn't have powers anyway. Bane usually has these weird powers, but he didn't have it. He had a different
Mm,
thing. So it made more sense, and it
mhm,
seemed it that's why I think people loved it so much, because it kind of blended in with reality a little bit, which is brilliant.
mm,
The And I think the reason, like in the Marvel universe, why because Thor, even though he is an alien technically, didn't really feel like one. You know what I mean? That didn't feel like we were in space in
yeah.
Asgard. It didn't feel like that. It just it felt a bit more fantastical, but not too much. It was a gentler
Mm,
introduction to it until we then got to like Dark World and then Ragnarok and stuff like that, which then it developed on it more. But it was a slow build,
mm,
which you're right, is I think is a better thing to do.
mm. It's one of the things that I like to use as a bit of a comparison for this is Game of Thrones. It
Mm,
wasn't really until the last episode of the first season that you saw anything overtly magical happen, and that was when the dragons were born. And that actually took a whole season to develop. You saw
mm,
like the walkers and stuff like that, so there were some elements of mystic and magic and stuff like that. But it wasn't until the very end of the first season you're like, okay, shit. That's happened. Where's this going to go next, kind of thing? And I
mm.
liked that the fact it took a whole season to develop. So, yeah, I'm kind of hoping that James Gunn doesn't mess it up. I think have you watched The Flash yet? I still haven't watched that. It's like really cheap to rent. I still haven't bothered watching it. I think it just needs a complete reset,
Mm.
100%. Any characters that you would like to see in it that haven't been in it yet, or that you just want to see in it?
DC universe.
Hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, in terms of Batman, there's a few more Batman villains that they could play off of, which I think would be really cool. So we haven't seen the Court of Owls yet, which is a really cool
Oh,
Batman
they're
villain.
rumored for the next Batman, though.
Oh, great! So that's good.
Mm,
They would be cool to see. I don't actually know that much about. I don't know as much about DC as I do Marvel.
no.
So I'm not
I
100%
think
sure.
the only two that I would like to see, I really enjoyed Arrow when it first came out,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Arrow, but even more, Deathstroke was a big part of that as well. I don't know much about
Mm,
Deathstroke, but he's just a badass character, and he looks like
mm,
he'd be a good foe for Batman to fight. So I'm gutted that Joe Manganiello, I never know how to say his name. I'm gutted that he didn't get his chance to portray that character well, because I think he was a really good fit for it. So I would like to see Arrow probably, although I see Stephen Amell in that role like so clearly. It'd be hard to
mm.
get recast as that. I know what's his name, Hummon was fan cast as him. Whether that would happen or not, I don't know. And yeah, the Deathstroke, we'll see. Speaking of Charlie Hunnam, one more thing on Geek Corner before we move on. Apparently, Zack Snyder is releasing R-rated director's cuts of Rebel Moon. the Rebel Moon films.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's something to look forward to as well, even though we haven't seen the original ones yet. So
There's
just thought I'd
one
tip
more
your
thing here
fancy.
as well.
Go
One
on.
more thing I've seen while searching Nicholas Hoult. Did you know they're making a second Mad Max, The Wasteland?
Yeah, I know Tom Hardy's not in it. It's called,
No,
isn't it
he is in it.
Furiosa Road? He's in it, is he?
No, it's called Mad Max: The Wasteland, and it's set before. So it was set before the opening scene of Fury Road.
Oh, right, okay.
And he's wrote two backstories for Max and Furiosa, and The Wasteland is centered on Max and will be incredibly bleak according to Max. And Furiosa will not make an appearance in this film, but Max will make an appearance in the planned Furiosa prequel. But Chris Hemsworth's in it.
Holy shit! Okay, so what I had heard is that I hadn't heard about that one, but I'd heard about the other one with someone else, which I'm, as far as I'm aware, is like pretty much finished. Because apparently Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron did not get on at all during filming in the slightest, and there was going to be one called Furiosa out, which is her and another female character I can't remember, but Tom Hardy wasn't going to be in it, so maybe there's going to be more.
It's the old bird from Queen's Gambit.
Oh yeah, Anna Taylor-Joy.
And yeah, she's going to be. Yeah, she's going to be Furiosa. Oh, and Chris Hemsworth's in that as well. He's going to be playing.
So he'll be.
He's playing Immortan Joe.
Who's that?
The guy with all the fucking weird face shit.
The main guy, the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Okay, interesting. All right. Well, let's move on anyway, because we're half hour in and we've just like literally been speaking about geeky shit the whole time. So, Josh, Fit Talk. A little bit of inspiration for both of us and for our listeners. What is your final form?
Well, I mean, I guess eventually I'll be in a casket, but it's...
So, just as a little clarification, I hadn't heard the term final form until probably like a couple of years ago or something. And isn't it doesn't it go to Dragon Ball Z or something like that? Is that where it comes from? So, yeah, final form is like, what do you want? What do you see yourself as being the epitome of your fitness self? And yeah, I just wanted to know, like, what do you see? When we talk a lot about having a vision of the future, like what you want yourself to be, what is your final form vision? Like what do you want to be? Like what do you want to look like? What do you want to be able to do? Like all of that shit. And this is like more of the crazy side of things rather than the thing, but crazy, but with longevity in mind. So like what do you want to be able to do consistently at the drop of a hat?
So for me, ultimate final form would be shredded and jacked, but not more like Reynolds, or who's the guy that does all the kickboxing movies?
Scott Adkins?
Maybe Scott Adkins, probably. Like that kind of like just jacked, shredded, but not. So like that, to be able to do stuff like flips and handstands and all that sort of stuff, but also to be able to deadlift at least double bodyweight squat 1.5 bench bodyweight, more like deadlift 300 squat 250 bench 180. That would be
at the drop of a hat, like at any given time.
Yeah. That would just be wonderful. And then also like we're talking final form here, yeah. So like to be able to do all the flips and shit, to be able to do the splits, to be able to lift all that weight, and then also to be able to kind of run or ruck any distance without issue.
Okay, that's nice.
Just have it like just be an all round. Just have some form of gas tank to be able to like. All right, it's my. Do you know it's the same for every man, I think. When they say that it's not the case, but it is. Like, if shit hits the fan, can I do everything that needs to be done? Can I run to the next town because I need to save somebody? Can I carry my wife for miles without issue? Can I pick shit up that's super heavy? Can I jump and climb? All of that stuff. That's my final form, essentially.
Okay, that's cool. So basically, your final form is pretty much Rich Froning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fucking good final form to have, to be fair. I can completely get on board with that. Yeah.
Rich Froning with flips. It's Rich Froning with flips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like a combination between Rich Froning, Carly Green, and whoever can do like proper flips. That's good. I like it.
Mm.
Yeah. I
Be
mean,
a
mine isn't too
stuntman.
dissimilar to
Be a stuntman, essentially.
be a stuntman. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good shout. So, yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't really need to go for all of mine because it's pretty much the same thing. And this is what was curious to me. It's like, I think most people know that there's stuff, and this is one of the interesting psychological aspects about myself that I recognize, but I understand the hard work. So a lot of people think, oh, you must work really hard in the gym, like to deadlift. Well, you can deadlift sometimes. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I can do that. But that's the easier, that's the easier option out of a lot of the modalities to be able to pick up and put down really heavy shit. And you get some people who can do fucking so much weight, it's ridiculous. But really, it is the easier of the options. It's like almost like a lazy option. So I am definitely going to start looking at pushing myself a bit more in other directions, especially post 40. I've got over a year left yet. I'm going to still focus on strength, and post 40, I've decided I want to have a complete rejig in the way I approach fitness and focus a shitload on calisthenics, because I want to be able to prove to people that, like, even after 40, you can still do a bunch of fun shit. But yeah, mine is the same. I still want to be able to do a backflip. We talked about this many episodes ago. I definitely want to be able to do that. Be able to run a certain distance as well. For me, I would like to be able to just run 10K without getting out of breath. That would be nice. It used to be 5K, but I'm upping it to 10 now. And one of the other things, Josh, and you've kind of inspired me on this one, is handstand walking and just being able to do handstands. I think that's really good. And being able to muscle up is definitely another one I'd like to be able to do. And yeah, the other, in terms of weights, I'm not too fussed about 300 kilo deadlifts, but at any given time, moving into my 50s and hopefully up into 60, I would like to be able to deadlift 200 kilos. I would like to be able to bench 120 kilos plus. Overhead press, I don't know what I want that to be because I'm still nowhere near where I want that to be at this age yet. And squat, say 150 kilos or 170 kilos, something around there. So have a decent amount of strength. But I spoke to you about my goals when you saw my whiteboard. I want to be able to be at a point where I'm 6 to 8 weeks out of going above and beyond all of those lifts at any given point, or the cardio, or anything, any other thing. I want to get myself to a general base of fitness where if I wanted to focus on one thing, I'm only 6 weeks away from being able to hit like a really good target with that.
Yeah, it's great, man. Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, it's just consistency, time, and effort. I think that's the thing, isn't it? And putting the effort in the right place. I think when people come up with ideas, like grand ideas like this, they try and do it all at once instead of focusing on one, then moving on to the other. Like we've talked about many times before, you can keep everything else in it. So like you can keep your strength and your muscle mass in a baseline while you work on your cardio, and then your cardio can be on a baseline while you work on your muscle mass, and etc., etc., etc. So the skill-based stuff, I think, like the flips and the handstands and stuff like that, you can kind of constantly be working on. And I think that's important for you to constantly be working on. You just need to. It's like little and often. Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, really, I've got like this close. I've got super, super, super close to just being able to get and do a free handstand without my feet on the wall and anything, and just getting up into it. And I've always been consistent enough to get just that close, and then I've stopped. Whereas if I've all that time since doing it, if I've done it for a year, I'd probably be now just be able to whip up into a handstand and hold it. So it's that consistency of the skill development, and to constantly be trying to develop those skills through play or through whatever. That's really important with the skill-based stuff. But everything else, you can kind of, when it comes to strength and muscle mass and cardio, you can keep on the burner while you're focusing on one of the others.
Have you ever looked into the golden ratio?
The golden. I've heard it, but I'm not good at remembering this stuff. So
the golden ratio. So it is
like, this is just giving me bloody Fibonacci sequence here.
Yeah. So basically, it's all based on that and pi and stuff like that. So there is a golden ratio physically as well, and there is one for physique. At one point, I wouldn't mind seeing how close I could get to that. And the person I heard it first from was Mike Matthews. You ever heard of Mike Matthews?
No.
He wrote Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, Thinner, Leaner, Stronger, and like a few other books. He's a real decent guy. He wasn't a PT or anything like that, but he just spent countless hours researching into how the best way to train was. And he wrote these really good books, actually. For anyone who's interested, they are solid books, Bigger, Leaner, Stronger. If you follow the protocols in them, you're actually going to go well. Definitely not as good as the RDA app, but still good. So, I can't find it. But the golden ratio in proportions is something like, so you start off with a place of your body at a certain body fat that is never going to change. So your wrists or your knees or your ankles, assuming you haven't got too much body fat, they're the best places to start. With that measurement, you're then able to work out your ideal proportions, like where your biceps should be, where your shoulders should be, where your chest should be, where your waist should be, all of these different measurements. And it is the best way to work out what the golden ratio is for your body.
So I've managed to get a client to that once before. So it's based off of old like Greek. So essentially, what they used to make the old Greek statues off of, it'd be like I think it was Da Vinci or something. Whoever did the fucking statues back then, they would also. I've been actually to the statue and seen the statues, one in Naples, but also in Athens, where they made and I've seen a lot of the old marble statues, and they are all in like perfect proportion from like chest width, waist width, muscle mass, all that sort of stuff. And there was a website, I'll have to try and find it, where you could put in your measurements and it'd tell you like if you were close or where you should be, or it would tell you what measurements you should be for your height and your weight and etc. And I managed to get one client there once. I managed to get a client within the perfect ratios for perfect physique.
That is cool. Was that Jamie by any chance?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
I thought it might have been. Yeah.
When he was training properly.
So your flexed arm should be 150% larger than the circumference of your non-dominant wrist circumference. Your flexed calves should match your flexed arms. Your shoulder circumference should measure 1.618 times larger than your waist. Your chest circumference should be 550% larger than the circumference of your non-dominant wrist. Your upper leg circumference should be 75% larger than your knee circumference. Oh, and that's it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's good. So, yeah, one day I wouldn't mind seeing if I could get myself close to that. That would be quite good.
Yeah, I wonder, it'd be interesting. Sorry, it'd be interesting if how that differs from now to then. So then obviously I reckon most people's body types were like relatively, well, not similar. They were a lot similar to what they are now, whereas people's shapes and bone structures and stuff are all over the fucking place now. You know, like I'm like a fucking fantasy dwarf, and you look like a barrel with legs. So it's I wonder what the difference is now. If he can still get that same kind of thing.
I'm trying to find it. I found the calculator here. I can't find my tape measure. I was going to do it quickly on air with measure my wrist and my ankles and it'll work out the rest. But yeah, I can't do it at the moment. So maybe that'll be another one. But yeah, that would also be part of my final form. Would be to have that and just I keep on going back to the idea of a 32-inch waist again. That would be nice. I'd be lying if I said I fit comfortably into 34 at the moment. I don't. So being able to get into a 32-inch waist again would be good. That's when I know I've got like a pretty prominent six pack. Is when I've got that.
Send me the link to that calculator because I want to do that now. So I know I'm fucking.
Yeah, there's probably a better one, but this one is down. Control copy on that one. The calc. I'll put it in the show notes as well, guys. But the calculator is down the bottom of this website. website. I love how these episodes now, because we don't see each other, they're pretty much just turning into me and you chatting now, as opposed to like recording podcasts. If you noticed, it's
Yeah.
quite funny. Okay, anyway, guys, let's move on from the fit talk and let's go into a bit of, will you go about to say something else then? Sorry.
No, you carry on.
No. Okay, let's go into study time. So we're going to put the white lab coats on, and today's study time is how hunger hormones impact decision making. That impact decision-making brain area to drive behaviour. This is from November the 16th this year from the University College of London. And all I want to say is, as we've known, the Snickers advert gets it right. You're not yourself when you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So this goes like this: a hunger hormone produced in the gut can directly impact a decision-making part of the brain in order to drive an animal's behavior. Of course, we're animals. Finds a new study. The study in mice, published in Neuron, is the first to show how hunger hormones can directly impact activity of the brain's hippocampus when an animal is considering food. Lead author Dr. Andrew McCaskill said, "We all know our decisions can be deeply influenced by our hunger, as food has a different meaning depending on whether we are hungry or full. Just think of how much you might buy when grocery shopping on an empty stomach." I'm a fucking liability when I do that. But what may seem like a simple concept is actually very complicated in reality. It requires the ability to use what's called contextual learning. We found that a part of the brain that is crucial for decision making is surprisingly sensitive to the levels of hunger hormones produced in our gut, which we believe is helping our brains to contextualize our eating choices. For the study, the researchers put mice in an arena that had some food and looked at how the mice acted when they were hungry or full, while imaging their brains in real time to investigate neural activity. I've just got this image in my head of like a load of mice wearing those little wired helmet things, because that must be what it is. All of the mice spent time investigating the food, but only the hungry animals would then begin eating. The researchers were focusing on brain activity in the ventral hippocampus, the underside of the hippocampus, a decision making part of the brain which is understood to help us form and use memories to guide our behavior. The scientists found that activity in a subset of brain cells in the ventral hippocampus increased when animals approached food, and this activity inhibited the animal from eating. But if the mouse was hungry, there was less neural activity in this area, so the hippocampus no longer stopped the animal from eating. The researchers found this corresponded to high levels of the hunger hormone ghrelin circulating in the blood. Adding further clarity, the UCL researchers were able to experimentally make mice behave as if they were full by activating these ventral hippocampal neurons, leading animals to stop eating even if they were hungry. Hello, pharmaceuticals. The scientists achieved this result again by removing the receptors for the hunger hormone ghrelin from these neurons. Prior studies have shown that the hippocampus of animals, including non-human primates, has receptors for ghrelin, but there was scant evidence for how these receptors work. There is more to this, but basically what it is showing is how this ghrelin thing can affect decision making. We've talked about this numerous times, and I think it is widely understood. And there are other ways to kind of combat this, like we've both spoken about breathing techniques and being hydrated and being focused, like knowing what you want, making decisions on the spot. But if you are, I think one of the things this study doesn't tap into in terms of the area of human research is cravings, because there is a difference between hunger and cravings as well, and decision making can be bad, but cravings are so much fucking worse when you're already hungry. You can have cravings when you're full up, but you can also have cravings when you're hungry as well. So, and this would just all lead to worse or better decision making.
Yeah, it's, I think we brought up a previous study that was similar to this as well, on how they're going to be doing this. It's still animal studies, so it's a while yet of actually anything conclusive. But, it is a thing that people struggle with, is hunger when they're trying to lose weight. And obviously we know that hunger increases when you're trying to lose weight. But like we said, there's so many tactics you can use before having to go to medication, with eating more satiating foods, being active, being prepared, meal prepping, having accountability, making sure we're creating the right habits, making sure that we are eating loads of vegetables, eating loads of protein, making sure that like you said, you understand your goal and what it is that you're wanting to do, and that is something you are driven towards. Making sure that you don't take your wallet out with you, so you don't go to the shop on the way home. Making sure that you don't buy bad food, so it's not in the house. All of this stuff. There is a fucking multiple tools you can use to stop yourself from eating much. It's just having the wherewithal and the motivation to put those into practice.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is the thing, isn't it? That is where we are different from mice. We have way more decision making skills in our arsenal. But if you are eating a good protein rich diet and eating in a way that fits your lifestyle well, then bottom line is you're going to make better decisions. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're eating shit, you're going to crave more shit as well. And if you're not eating enough, you're still going to crave more, especially if you're not eating protein, because that is more satiating. It takes longer to digest, so you are going to feel fuller for longer eating protein. So guys, make sure you eat the right things and you'll make better decisions.
Yep, exactly. There you go.
Let's go to the hot topic. And today's hot topic is how to stop the holiday season ruining your progress. I'm definitely going to think of a better title when I write this up on the actual podcast listing later on. But basically, it is holiday season. We are coming into December tomorrow as of the time of publishing of this episode. Everyone's going to be thinking about Christmas, New Year, Christmas parties, all that jazz. So how do you stop all of this stuff from ruining the progress that you've had, especially if you've only just started? It can actually, and so I've heard so many people around this time of year say to themselves, oh, I tell you what, I'm going to start in January. And yeah, that is, for me, that's like, okay, yeah, cool. Or they've went into their January. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna lay off it until January a little bit. So what I'm going to start off with is just the really most obvious thing here. Remember that Christmas Day and New Year's Eve/day are only one day each. Okay, they are not the entirety of December and January. They are actually and maybe you've got like say 2 or 3 Christmas parties in this time as well. Each of these things are only one instance in a much larger calendar. So don't let these single one-off events just mess you up for the whole month. They just don't need to.
Yeah, it's also even if you lump Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and like 2 or 3 Christmas parties, that's only a week, right? It's only a
Yeah.
week of bad. It's a deload,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
but people turn it into a whole month, and then also after Christmas, it strings on for a bit longer. So yeah, you've got to really remind yourself that actually it's only a few days. It's not fucking shitloads.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people do forget that as well. And even with all the other things added in, it is a week, but there's still other stuff you can do to mitigate all this, which is, to be fair, what we're going to get into. So my next point is, and I actually got this from James Smith. If you don't know who James Smith is, you're probably slightly living under a rock because he has blown up in the last 4 or 5 years. So James Smith is a British PT who is known for being very outspoken. He says things very clear cut. He doesn't mince his words at all. But one of the things that he was speaking about yesterday, have you ever heard of a YouTube channel called Beard Meets Food? Beard versus Food or something like that.
Guy's
So he's
stacked,
wicked.
isn't
He is stacked. And that's what James Smith's video was about yesterday, is how does he stay in this condition? So I was like, okay, I watched it. I hardly ever watch any of James Smith stuff, to be honest, but I watched this one yesterday. And one of the strategies he uses, which I really fucking like, so where do most people's, and this works really well for this year as well, which is why I brought it up, because this year Christmas is on a Sunday, I think, is it? I was actually on a Monday, but that's okay. So it falls around the weekend time. So one of the things, everybody has a drive to start things on a Monday, which is fine. That's when most of us start things on Mondays, which is good. It's when we actually recommend it because it's at the beginning of the week. It fits nicely into a schedule. But one of the techniques that he said about yesterday was start counting calories from the Friday. Because if you are going to count, what matters is your calories over the duration of a week. Okay. And if you start counting from the Friday, the fuck ups that you're inevitably going to have over the weekend, you can offset them by what you do the rest of the week. So let's say over the weekend, you eat 3,500 calories over what you should have done, which is really easy to do, especially this time of year. That means you can drop your daily calories by 500 calories a day or 600 calories a day for the next 5 days to basically offset that. Okay, as long as you're still hitting your protein target, then you're going to be fine. It does not matter. Those weekly things really, really do add up. And I'm not being an advocate for binging at the weekends at all here, but if you do find yourself binging at the weekends, if you start tracking from the Friday or the Saturday morning, you're going to be able to offset those extra calories you had at the weekend with your weekly tracking throughout. So any given 7-day period, you're going to be on track.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Yeah, just keeping on top of it. And like people don't think about that as well, that you can, I like to tell people that, you want to look at the weekly average, not just the daily calories. So yeah, when people say they haven't ate anything all day today, so it should be fine, and then they go to the weekend and then they've ate shitloads, and it's actually their weekly average is above normal. That's if you look at that weekend and go, oh shit, I've ate so much food, I can deduct X amount. Obviously, it's not the healthiest way to do it. I'd rather you ate the same every day, but this is a special occasion, isn't it? So it just doesn't happen all the time.
And it's real life as well, isn't it? Like that's the thing. It's real life. It's Christmas season. It's holiday season. You're going to end up going out. You're going to end up having biscuits and sweets and stuff like that. That is going to happen. You're going to have your waffle caramel latte thing. So this stuff will happen. But if you're tracking, make sure you add it all in, and you can offset it throughout the rest of the week. It's absolutely fine. What I would say though is make sure you offset it over several days. Don't just starve yourself the next day, because what's going to happen, you'll get to the evening, you'll think, oh, I'm ready for bed, but I just fancy a couple of biscuits, and then you'll smash like a whole freaking tub of them or something like that. So offset it over the remaining days, not all in one day. Okay, so my third one here is eat slowly. Christmas is a time of plentiful food for most people. You do not have to shovel everything into your mouth all at once, because God knows I like to do that, but it's not the best way. So eat thoughtfully, eat slowly, be aware of what you're eating. I'm not saying you have to track everything because you want to enjoy yourself, but just eat. Don't eat like you're never going to be fed again. Don't eat like, I like to say, don't eat like you've just come out of prison. It's like, oh shit, if I don't eat this now, someone else is going to eat it. So eat slowly, eat considerately and considerately, and think about what you're eating and how you're eating.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, slowly is really key. I mean, I struggle to eat slowly. I eat like I'm in prison. I'm like that.
Yeah.
Because my worst thing as well is I'll finish a meal, and then my wife Rachel, she eats really slowly, and then I'll be staring at her meal for the rest of the thing, going, "Are you going to eat that? Are you going to eat that?" So yeah, eat slowly is definitely key. Really, mastication is important. You need to make sure that you're chewing your food.
Be a good masticator. Yeah. I have you ever been to a point? This has happened to me so many times, like I couldn't even count. And I listener, if you don't think this has happened to you, I'm just going to say, pay more attention. Have you ever been like really snacky and hungry, and just been in a fuck it mood, and you've snacked on so much shit whilst you're cooking your meal? By the time you get round to your meal, you're like, I'm not actually that hungry anymore, but I'm going to eat it anyway.
See, this is where my problem is I don't have the bit that goes, oh, I'm not really hungry anymore.
Fair enough.
Because I've got I have a small fat child inside of me that is just like, don't stop eating. Why stop? This is amazing.
That makes complete sense. And so there have been times where I have eaten, like, I don't know, let's say I've eaten 2 slices of toast and a whole tub of Pringles and a protein shake whilst I'm waiting for my lunch to cook. Like that has happened in my past before. And in the time it takes my lunch to cook, I've just smashed in the region of 2,000 calories, if not more.
Yeah.
Like that is a lot right there. So including a lunch, that probably takes that up to 2,500, if not close to 3,000 calories, which is
Mm.
my entire day all in one go. And look, this is where me and Josh try and be as real with you as possible, because we're not fucking perfect. We're not those people that say we've got everything dialed in. This is why we've had to create the products that we have within the RDA system, because we need to mitigate these problems that we face every day. And we're just like, right, how do we keep on track? So yeah, any tools you can use to do that, and eating slowly is one of them, because you may find that the other thing is having a break between. If you're going to have dessert as well, have a break between, and you may not actually fancy the amount of dessert you think you do. Eyes are bigger than your
Mm.
belly is a common saying, and it is so true. If you eat fast, you're not going to get the hunger receptors kick in until like it's too late and you've already eaten too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Number 4 here is have alternative workouts, because December and January are usually chaotic months. There is a lot of shit going on. You're going to be seeing a lot of people doing a lot of things. And Josh, this is based on the habits that you mentioned. Was it last episode? I can't remember, or the episode before.
Last episode. Yeah.
Last episode. And that is, if you can't do your full workout, have just a completely skimmed down version of something that you can do. Even if the
Mm.
base level of it is going up for a half-hour walk, if that is all you can manage, that is fine. But try to make sure, like if you're doing bench press in a day, then why not just do 10 push-ups if you can't make your whole workout? Have backups just to make sure you do something every day. And based on the habits, have a reminder. So let's say when you're cooking your lunch, instead of stuffing your face like I used to do, when your lunch is cooking, even if it takes 10 minutes, that is probably enough time to get a good 50 or so push-ups in, and a couple of like squats and stuff like that whilst your lunch is cooking. Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
You've actually done something to offset everything.
Yeah, that's such a great idea. It's really easy over the Christmas period. You're too busy. You got a thousand people to see and parties to go to, or maybe you're at home alone with nobody to see. Either way, you want something that you can do, some alternative. Even if you just have a little bodyweight circuit that you have, this is your like no time circuit that I've got doing. It's just like 10 squats, 10 sit ups, 10 push ups, something simple like that. That's really simple. Do that 3 times. Happy days.
Yeah, that's it. Like something is better than nothing at any given time.
Hmm.
So just get it done. The next one is stay active in general. Like, uh, and this is the thing. Like, a lot of people don't actually have this problem so much in December and January as a whole. But even on the days where you are just completely dying from eating too much, if you've got dogs, go take them out for a walk. Like, if
Mm.
you've got any way to stay active, then try and stay active. Be up, play games, do active games like charades or something like that. Just try and stay active and keep your body moving. One of the main reasons I'm suggesting this isn't just for burning calories; it's actually more for a digestion thing here. If you can be up and semi-active, and I don't mean like kicking the shit out of a gym, but just letting gravity do its thing and help you digest, you're actually going to feel better for it, because you're going to digest better, you're going to pass things through better, and just in general feel better for letting the body do its natural processes better.
Yeah, this is something that society, for some reason, everybody gets wrong, and they'll eat something, or their stomach will feel full on, and the first thing everybody does is, oh, I need to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
I need to let this go down. I need to let this, and actually, it's the worst. That's basically the worst thing you can do. What you want to be doing, and this is something Stan Efferdin talks about, and it's something we've talked about before on the podcast, is 10-minute walks is such a good thing. So
Yeah.
after every meal, go for a 10-minute walk, and that will help with your digestion, help get things moving. It will help make you feel better, and actually, just get you a bit more active. So
Mm-hmm.
after each meal, don't just oh, I need to sit down now because I've just ate so much. No, get up and move, and you'll feel better.
Yeah, definitely. Movement is medicine. I know that's a cliche, but it's so
Mm.
bloody true. And
Mm.
this one, the next point, ties in very well with that one, and that is get friends and family involved. Go out for a walk with them. Like, get everyone together, go out for a walk on New Year's Day. And so Josh, yourself, and your wife are coming over to see us on New Year's Eve. And I think we've given ourselves a little challenge of going for a New Year's Day dip in the sea that is going to be 5 minute walk away from us, which is going to be freaking freezing and very busy. I expect there'll be a lot of people down there. But yeah, we're going to rope ourselves into doing that. We've also got a drinking game planned where you have to jump into my cold plunge as well. So assuming no one dies of shock, it should be fine. But just staying active, just use your friends and family. Even like, I like the idea of in the future of having like, I don't know, a New Year's Day workout or even a New Year's Eve workout before the festivities start. Just instigate. If no one in your family has done it yet, guys, be the instigator of having this ritual. Like, be the change. Yeah, be the change. Be the instigator of saying, I know what, guys, let's do this. And you will hit resistance at first, but I guarantee that it'll become a fun part and everyone will enjoy it after. Everyone will complain before it happens, but after it happens, everyone will be like, yeah, that was a really good idea. That was a good shout.
It's almost a callback to like 20-year-old me and doing a pre night out pump session.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like that. Well, what happened to those? Why have those stopped? You know,
Yeah, definitely.
like pre night out pump on, and then that's it. It's a pre Christmas pump. Let's all get jacked before we eat Christmas dinner.
100%. Why not? And we haven't really talked about food partitioning on this podcast all that much, but it will serve a purpose a lot more if you've got a pre Christmas dinner pump on. That protein and those carbs are going to go to much better places and much better use. So the next one is be flexible. Okay, now we talk about the importance of having a schedule, and it's great, have a schedule, but again, these months can be chaotic, so be flexible, and be flexible in a way that you can offset stress, because we don't want to add any more stress to you. So be flexible in a way that if you can't get something done, that is fine, work out a way around it, but don't beat yourself up for it. At the end of the day, this is a time of joy and happiness. So if you are pissed off of yourself because you can't make a workout, then just do what we said earlier on. Just hit an alternative shorter workout. Be flexible in your approach to what you do. And that includes the people you see and like how you maintain your schedule and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, that's super important. Is, don't get beat up. Don't beat yourself up. It's life happens, especially this time of year. Like you said, it's mental time of year. Lots going on. Just allow it to happen. But this is where some of these previous tips are really important. This is where having, contingencies for when shit goes awry. So, yeah, just let it happen.
Yeah. Point 8 here, there's 9 points, by the way. Point 8 here is have fun, because that is really what this is all about. So one of the things that people don't do enough is ask themselves decent questions. One of the best questions you can ask yourself is, cool, I'm going to do this. How can I make it more fun? So, for instance, if you're going to work out, why don't you get point 6 involved and get friends and family involved? How can I make this more fun for myself? I can invite other people along. We can have a laugh with it. How can you make wrapping presents more fun? There's like, listen to some music that gets you in the Christmas mood. How can I make Christmas shopping more fun for food? Violence isn't an option, so I'm stuck on that one. But there is, there's always ways to make things more fun, guys. So just enjoy yourself, have fun, enjoy the party season and the joy season for what it is. It's not all about the presents and what you can give and stuff like that. It's about the people you spend your time with and just how you approach life.
Yeah, it's really important is to enjoy it, It's really important to enjoy it. And we can, especially when we've got goals like this, to maybe get in shape, and we're trying to do that over this period of time. It can strip the fun out of it, and we can put too much pressure on ourselves and all of that, when actually gamifying fitness a little bit, gamifying health is not a bad thing. That's actually a great thing to do, and it's gonna make it more enjoyable. This is meant to be an enjoyable thing. A lot of people see it as it's a chore. They have to exercise, they have to eat healthy, when actually it can be great. It can be, and it's going to make you feel better, and we can make it a fun thing, make it a competition between you and your family, make it, do all of that sort of stuff. It's a great idea.
Yeah, it is. And guys, the last point here is think about 2024. What kind of person do you want to be throughout 2024? Because now is the time to start setting that up. Okay. I'm not saying spend your time the whole month like thinking about the future, because you do want to be present. You're going to be with friends and family. You're going to be enjoying yourself. But think about who you want to be in the next year. Again, another cliche is about New Year's resolutions, New Year, New Me. Fucking use it. Use the cliche. You get on board with that, because if everyone else is motivated, it's more likely for you to be motivated as well. Just be the exception and actually carry on with it for the whole fucking year instead of the other people who quit. But think about the kind of person you want to be for the 12 months of 2024 going into 2025. Jesus Christ, that is the future, isn't it? So, yeah. Who do you want to be in 2024, guys? Have a think about that. And that will help you set the parameters of this last month of the year. It will help you decide, these are the things I need to do to make sure I'm that person. If you've if you've ever told yourself, I'm going to start Monday, and you've missed that Monday, and you don't want to start on a Tuesday, and you're definitely not going to start on a Wednesday, so you just say, I tell you what, I'm going to start next Monday instead. This is the curse of New Year's Eve drinking, is that most people don't want to start on New Year's Day. So what I'm going to say, that is the same thing as fucking up and missing your Monday. You will say you'll probably leave it a whole year before you start again, because no one wants to do anything with a hangover. So whatever you plan for 2024, just maybe take into consideration the fact you're not going to feel too great on the first day of 2024. So have a good think about how to incorporate all of that into your plan moving forward for the kind of person you want to be.
Yeah, start the year on a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Start the year with a win. Don't start it with a failure straight away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely make it an easy win as well. Like we were saying, I think the only goal I have for New Year's Day is for us guys to go down and have a bit of a freaking dip in the sea, and that's like, if we do that, then that's like, whew, yeah. Even if it's like literally jump in and jump out and then go back and have some warm lunch, like that's that's what I care about. So set yourself up for that win.
Yeah.
So, guys, that is the end of the hot topic. I'm going to quickly go through these away. The 9 steps to stop the holiday season ruining your progress. Number 1, remember they are just single days and single events. They are not the whole time. Number 2, count weekly calories and start from Friday so you get an average and not just a day at a time. Number 3 is eat slowly and considerately. Number 4 is have alternative workouts based on habits. So if you can't get your whole workout in, then do whatever you can instead. Number 5 is stay active. Number 6 is get friends and family involved. Number 7 is be flexible with your time, have the backups and contingencies. Number 8 is have fun. And number 9 is think about who you want to be going into 2024.
Yeah, these are all absolutely brilliant tips. And guys, now is the time. It is the 1st of December tomorrow. So get on it. Try your best you can. You will be fine.
Yes, you will. Own 2024. I can't wait to do our goals episode, actually. That is going to be good. But Josh, Kimberly said to me yesterday, please don't get rid of the end jokes because I really like them. So, yeah. So you've got to carry on with your jokes.
Okay. Why couldn't the bicycle stand up by itself?
I don't know.
It was too tired.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ. When is Rachel due, by the way? Because all these dad jokes you're kicking out at the moment, like you've got to be.
She's what? You don't put the fear in me then.
She didn't
Jesus
tell you?
Christ.
Oh, dear.
That would explain a lot.
Josh, where can the lovely... What did you say?
That would explain a lot.
Where can the lovely people find us, Josh?
They can find us at the RDA Strength System on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. They can also find our Facebook podcast group, The Lifting Lounge, if they want to ask us any questions about the podcast. Also, you can find the RDA System app with all its programs and lovely lifestyle tips and resources on there on the RDA website, www.therdsystem.com. You can sign up today.
Oh, yeah. And I think at time of release of this episode, you're going to have one more day left of our Black Friday sale to get 50% off personal training packages. Make sure you do that. Take advantage. This is the only option that gives you one-on-one access to myself or Josh, and we literally coach you through all the stuff that we talk about, and we make sure that we hold you to a high standard, but a standard that we know fits into your lifestyle. Okay, we make it achievable and we make it successful. So don't miss out on your chance to get that. God knows when we're going to do it again. We've got a busy year coming up in 2024. So guys, until next time, like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bells, listens our love, give us all the love. We want it, everything. Josh wants it on his face. Until episode 96, we will see you then. Bye for now.
Bye.